known for its cultural diversity. How important is that when attracting business to Canada and Canadian companies doing business elsewhere?
It's paramount and tantamount to that. I think you'll notice that the numbers don't lie. Canada has increased its immigration. It's one of the countries that is got this great open door policy. Of course, goes through the checks, but very inclusive in its immigration policy. We've launched a global skills strategy as an official program, which actually makes sure that this country is becoming more entrepreneurial in terms of its skills, in terms of the talent attraction, and then in terms of when you get the talent, how is that talent being integrated into the pipeline, assimilated, given the skills necessary. That is key, and there's a number of foreign policies and internal Canadian policies that help take care of that. Whether it's trade, whether it's loans and guarantees, whether it's the banking system, in terms of on a federal and national level, the kinds of policies that look at that, Canada is, I think you'll notice, at the forefront globally.
And one of those policies is also the feminist foreign policy. What specifically is that?
So it's technically it's called the Feminist International Assistance Policy, and that is where Canada is really looking to make sure that we put forth this idea that none of us can move forward if half of us are held back. And what that looks like is that around the world, we make sure that things like our Trade Commissioner service, which is in about 166 countries around the world, we are getting champions who are within those services, who are, whether it's LGBTQ+, whether it's gender equality and equity, whether it's different cultures, how are we interacting with them? How are we making sure that we're seeking those kinds of people out? How are we making sure, are those business folks, those entrepreneurs, those people that may not necessarily have a leg up with other governments, how are they getting a leg up with ours? Well, our officers, our offices are committed to finding them, and we make sure we integrate them into the process that for a long time didn't have any of those, frankly, articulate, defined, and intentional policies.
You're the Consul General of Los Angeles. It's the capital of entertainment globally. You're also an actor. People are very familiar with your body of work. I'm interested to know, how have you seen the evolution of the way different people are portrayed in the film industry when it comes to all of the different cultures?
We in Los Angeles have stepped up our game in terms of how we look at things. And so we've adopted GBA+, which is Gender-Based Analysis Plus, which looks at whoever we talk to, whoever we come into contact with, the kinds of, whether they're companies, whether it's our own collateral that goes out, or whether it's when we're speaking with folks, are we looking at it from a gender-balanced analysis perspective? Are we unintentionally showing our biases, unconscious bias? Well, we need to eradicate that. And we also make sure that we work with production companies, studios, that we don't teach them, but we make sure they're aware that Canada really means it when it says time is up and now we have to move forward and in a new way. For us, on a general level, it also speaks to increasing that business. The more diverse we are, the more inclusive we are, the more we see that on set, the more we see that in the rooms, the C-suite rooms, the more we see that in producers, that's better for the business, and it makes business sense too. It's actually better for the bottom line.
And Canada is doing more than just talking, they're turning it to action.
Absolutely, we're seeing that, right? We're seeing that whether it's our policies, so we're making sure that's happening in policy, but then policies are just policies unless they're enacted. And so we're seeing people become the leaders of that policy and take that policy into action. And that takes real ownership. And I'm proud to say that whether it's our consulate, we encourage that we want our lists, whether they're our guest lists, whether they're the businesses that we connect with, we want to make sure those are diverse. You know, whether when we're giving help to entrepreneurs, we want to make sure that that's a diverse sort of bag of tricks that we bring, and also of the folks that we affect. So I'd say if we're a microcosm of what's happening on a global scale, well then all things are going in the right direction.